We want to know that when we get in an elevator to ride to the top of this building, that we've got an experienced, skilled craftsman that built and maintains this elevator.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Bill Blackman is the business manager of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, IBEW Local 136. He is also president of the Alabama State Building and Construction Trades Council, the Federation of Building and Construction Trades Unions in Alabama. Bill, welcome to the Valley Labor Report. It's great to have you back.
Hey, Jacob. Thanks for having me, buddy.
I really appreciate your time. You said you had a little bit of a sinus infection, so I hope you're feeling a little bit better this morning. Hope your recovery continues to go well.
Just forgive me when my voice cracks and I have to clear my throat.
No worries. I'm sure that you sound fine to me. So I want to talk to you about your a new contract that your union ratified that you were telling me about the other day, and it sound like I was super excited when you told me about it. It sounds like a huge win. But before that, I wanted to ask a couple of foundation laying questions while we have you. And first, let's explain a little bit, logistically speaking, about like the difference between trade unions and other unions, like, for example, the United Auto Workers, or my union, the American Federation of Government Employees. What are some of the differences between the IBEW and those other unions?
Well, first, if you give me a moment of personal privilege, let's put our priorities in order. Your family, Adam's family, everybody that has to do with this show on Saturday mornings, they all give of their time with you guys to put this on. So first of all, thank them for putting up with you guys and supporting you guys in doing this. And then thank you from our end of it for you guys putting this together and that sort of thing. So now back to your question. The construction industry is a little bit different than, say, the manufacturing or something like that. I mean, a lot of people are familiar with the idea of if you work in a tire plant, everybody in that tire plant is a member of United Steelworkers Local ABCD, and you've got one union representing the employees and one employer. In the construction trades, we represent multiple employees throughout multiple contractors. One of the advantages for the contractors to be union with us is that we have this ready pool of manpower. You can't always, when you're in the construction industry, you can't always time out perfectly when one job completes and the next job starts. So oftentimes you're losing good experienced hands in between jobs, and you want to be sure you can replace them with good hands and all that, or you're having to, as a contractor, pay them when you don't have a project for them to be earning money back to you on. So from a contractor standpoint, it's good to have that ready pool of manpower that how they're trained and what level craftsmen they are by the different classifications we give them throughout their progress going through the apprenticeship. Our apprenticeships are set up, at least for IBEW, our apprenticeships are set up with a joint apprenticeship training committee. And that committee is made up half of the active contractors in your area and half from your local union leadership. And we have a curriculum, a national curriculum, because electricity flows in Washington State the same as it does in Alabama or California, and the same as Alabama. No matter what the different states' politics is. The electricity flows the same way. So it's a national curriculum. And we, a journeyman wireman in Los Angeles, California is the same as a journeyman wireman in Mobile, Alabama, because he's had the same access to training and that sort of thing. And that's really where my passion is in that apprenticeship, and that's how we're going to pass on the skilled trades to the next generation. Otherwise, we're going to end up with a throwaway society that, we don't have somebody that can come in and fix it. So when something goes wrong with the wiring in your house, you just tear the house down and build another. And we don't want to get to that point. We want to know that when we get in an elevator to ride to the top of this building, that we've got to meet somebody in, that we've got an experienced, skilled craftsman that built and maintains this elevator. To go to your point, you were making in the earlier article about subsidizing something out. There may be cost savings, but what does that cost? What is saving that dollar today going to cost you come Wednesday? That kind of thing. So.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
That's
Anyway.
exactly right, and I think that the apprenticeship program is really one of is really the big thing that kind of differentiates building trade unions from some of the other unions. The UAW, they like work with management to an extent to develop like the training programs for a production worker at GM or Ford or whatever. But the unions for the IBEW or the iron workers or the elevator constructors, you just mentioned the elevators, the unions they play such an integral role in the training and development of new employees, and the apprenticeship programs for the building trade unions are really the gold standard. Like you said, if you've got an electrician who went through an IBEW apprenticeship program, you can have confidence they are going to know what needs to happen. And in many of the non-union, electrical contractors, that's not as true. A lot of times a non-union electrician is going to know, they're going to know what they need to do, but sometimes they don't. And the apprenticeship programs, to the extent that they have them, some of them are like teach to the task, and they don't create a real like tradesman or tradeswoman, right? Real well-rounded. And the IBEW and the other trade unions do that. And then, after this, we'll talk about what's in the contract. But can you tell folks a little bit about collective bargaining? Like, how does that work? What makes it different than, somebody in a non-union workplace negotiating for themselves?
Well, for IBEW, we sit down and negotiate with a contractors association, a union for contractors, basically. And they're, of course, negotiating from the standpoint of when we call the hall, we want to know what we get. When we call the hall, we want to know what we're going to have to pay and what a man hour will cost us and that sort of thing, to add stability to their ability to go out and bid projects for the future and be successful. But when we sit down and bargain, we know what everybody's making. This is where I was going with it. When you have to walk in on your own to the boss's office, you don't know for sure what anybody's, the starting point's not always the same, I guess is my point. And if you're not starting from the same place, you're not going to get to the same finish line. If you're running a mile race and I've got to start over here in Leeds and you've got to start over here in Huntsville, our finish line's not going to be the same place. And that's, we know where we are when we start a little better than just walking into the boss's office and saying, please give me this. But also in being able to collectively bargain like we are, we're able to find the points where the union's interest in future align with the contractor's interest in future, such as the healthcare you were mentioning earlier, such as the training of the apprentices, having a voice in that training so that you're sure you're getting the best quality that graduates from our apprenticeship. So there's to me, there's a lot of advantages to both sides to wanting to do collective bargaining. The situation that you were mentioning with the UNA and all that, that just sounds like management wanting to wash their hands of responsibility of dealing with employees, and now they've handed it off to some company over in the UK and let them deal with it. I just wonder what kind of tariff they're going to have to pay.
Maybe Trump will take care of it. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on that one. But it really is. It was wild to read about. And so let's talk about this contract. Tell me a bit about who the contractor is, how many people the new contract covers, and give me the highlights. Give me how much more money are your members going to be getting?
And it's again, this is for Local 136. Our jurisdiction stretches from Gadsden down through Birmingham, through Tuscaloosa, down through Greene County, and a big swipe right through the central Alabama state, central section of the state of Alabama. For this agreement, we settled on a 3-year agreement. That again alludes to the flexibility and the stability of being able to bid work for the future. It went into effect on June 1 of this year and will expire on May 31st of 2028. We typically bargain from a total package standpoint and allow our membership to hold meetings to discuss how to allocate it to the different funds. So we started out with a contract with a total package that was at $44.70. And what we settled on was 4% increase to that total package each year. That gives us $1.79 the first year, $1.86 the second, $1.93 in the third year. And at the end of that third year, our total package will have gone from the $44.70 to $50.28. We were able to also, again, insurance plays into it like it does in everything in life nowadays. I mean, we're living in a country that's made the health and well-being of its citizens a for-profit business. So everybody's got to get their finger in the pie. Insurance is one of the biggest things that we have to consider and negotiate and maintain a decent hourly contribution. The way we do it, we do an hourly contribution in, and 140 hours in a month earns you coverage. And as long as you're working that 140 hours each month, you're continuing that coverage. We also can bank up to 6 months worth of coverage because we know that construction runs in a cyclical manner. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I warned you about sinuses.
No worries at all. And we're coming up at the end, and so we're going to have to go ahead and break. But
I'll run real quick. We were able to a lot of our apprenticeship. We realized that they're only using a single coverage part of the insurance and that sort of thing. So we were able to get them a bit of an extra increase on that by providing them with single coverage insurance. But what we also did was in some of that cost savings, some of it went to the check and some of it went to increasing the contribution rate so that along with this single coverage, they now have an HRA where they're putting $1.64 an hour into that HRA. And they can buy family coverage on top of what they've earned for themselves for $132 a month. Well, at $1.64 for 40 hours, you're more than covering that 132 if it's needed. But so many of our apprentices are under 26 and still on mom and dad's, or they're single and not needing the family coverage, that sort of thing. So we looked at how to roll that in for them and was able to get them an extra 7% of what journeyman scale is.
That's great.
And that's probably the two biggest things that we need to, that I wanted to highlight out of what came from this new 3-year agreement.
Absolutely. At least a minimum 12% general wage increase, increasing the bottom pay by another 7%, sounds like. So I'm really, sounds like a great contract. If somebody is in that area and wants to join the IBEW, graduating high school or transitioning careers, or is an electrician that wants to join the union, you can go to IBEW136.org. IBEW136.org. Bill Blackman, business manager, IBEW Local 136. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jacob. I appreciate you, buddy.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.